Gold punties. This is a fairly dome-looking punty. They'll work together as a team to make sure that it's applied. Work together to trail the two irons to make sure that the irons are on the same center point or axis point. And then Claire will reach up and start to sculpture this punty. And she's going to put a small jack line in it, which tells me this is going to be a sculpture punty. When this is removed, most likely, maybe not, I can't see where she's got her jacks. But she's right on the end of the piece, so she's doing final cooling and shaping right at the end of the piece. Just cooling it, make sure that the contact is minimal, but enough, that's critical. You want as little glass holding that as you can, but you want it to be substantial enough to hold the piece. So we're gonna torch the moil, get some temperature up on that. You can see that her assistant has a tool called the Soffietta. It's just a long cone on a straw, and she's actually spot cooling that lead edge of the punty. They'll communicate. You can see her kind of popping the back of the punty iron with her hand. That's testing the stability of that punty. And you can, as you're turning that punty, you can feel it start to go cold. Once they're ready, everybody communicates that they're good to go. They got the doors open. The yoke back, the yoke turned out the way they want it. Claire will put some water on this line, a couple of drops, one good drop, usually one drop on the other 180 degrees. Pick it up, and then it's like tap, and off it comes. Just like that, we're halfway through the process. Yeah, excellent job. Now, if you wait too long or you take too long in that process, the minute you go back into the reheat chamber, things are going to blow up. So it's critical. You got to get that on there. You got to get it centered, cool down, heat it up in the moil, cool down at the bottom of the piece, and then temperature brought right up to temperature. So. Claire has asked that we turn the air conditioning off. These little louvered vents up front are actually air conditioning. Yeah, you can shut that one in as long as you get some coming down. Because that's enough blowing across the piece without breaking it. And when you crack a piece from cold, it doesn't need to be 200 degrees too cold. It's got to be 10, and it'll crack. So, what's that? The camera's actually. There's four of them up there total. There's one over there, one up here, there's one over here, and they're just moving them all around. Yeah, that one's looking over her shoulder now. The one down there is aimed at the bench. This one catches the wide angle when you get both people out of the way. So now, this is actually the longest of the reheats. We broke this free at around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. For Claire to change the shape, manipulate it, close it up. If she's going for one of these really petite, small, functional vase holes that's in the top of those, she's going to heat this, draw this back together, and close that down. So we're going to need to build, 800-900 degrees back into the lead edge of this vessel. She doesn't want to overheat a lot of the shape that she has. She's worked hard on it, so you'll see her flash the whole piece. And then dive in and heat just that part of the vessel that she wants to effectively make changes to. Now, one of the things you'll notice of these two that are finished here, they both have a very matte finish to them. These have either been lightly sanded, sandblasted, or acid etched when they're all done to lose the gloss that's natural to glass. You can see that in a reheat chamber of 2,200 degrees. It takes no time at all to add that 1,000 degrees back to the front edge. And Claire's going to dive in with a set of tweezers and start to pull this opening back at itself. Somebody's in there with a pair of paddles, just making sure a little protection on her hands. And she's actually drawing the lead edge of that vessel back together, and that's what will allow her to, the mechanism necessary to close this into a tiny little opening. when you go into the reheat chamber, the entire vessel is going to absorb a certain amount of temperature, let's say 200 degrees. If she can add 150 degrees to it before it goes in there, when it comes out, the front will be 150 degrees hotter than the rest of the vessel. So that's why, again, why using that fluffy torch